Huddy Sports presents a live Huddy production. Keep up to date, huddysports.co.nz.
Blocked drains, leaky pipes, don't let plumbing problems sideline your day. Call the team, Mike Pinfold Plumbing and Drain Laying Limited. Mike has been our sponsor since the very beginning, from quick fixes to full renovations. He's got the tools, the team and the know-how to get the job done right. First time, every time. Local, reliable and always on time. That's how Mike plays the game. Find Mike Pinfold at Pinfold Plumbing at extra.co.nz 027 430 4351. Mike Pinfold Plumbing and Drain Laying Limited. Also Google Mike Pinfold Plumbing and let the pros handle the flow.
Hi, Gavin Murphy here
And Cassie Murphy.
from G and Higton Funeral Directors.
Don't leave it up to someone else to tell your story. Do it now when you can enjoy being part of the conversation.
With a prepaid funeral, you can have music, readings and venue all chosen by you.
For your free funeral planning pack with everything you need to get started, go to our website at gnhigton.co.nz/pre-planning.
The Huddy Hui. Huddy Sports captivating sports show. The Huddy Hui covers Wellington Club Rugby as well as other sporting topics of debate. Tune in on YouTube during the rugby playing months as host Brad Hudson interviews rugby players and other sporting personalities across the Wellington region and the rest of New Zealand. Catch the Huddy Hui streaming on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube and wherever good yarns are heard. The Huddy Hui live on Huddy Sports. Here at Huddy Sports, we love a good game plan. And when it comes to travel, our go-to is Louise Reddy from New Zealand Travel Brokers. Whether it's a sports tour, a family break, or that bucket list trip, she'll get you there stress-free with all the best deals around. She's local, she's experienced, and she backs the game like we do, and she's a great supporter of Huddy Sports. Look up Louise Reddy at louisereddy.nztravelbrokers.co.nz or email louise@louise.reddy@newzealandtravelbrokers.co.nz. Travel smart and travel like a pro.
Duos like?
Having the last word?
Hi, Gavin Murphy here.
And Cassie Murphy.
And with G and Hickton Funeral Directors, you can. With a prepaid funeral plan, you can make it as relaxed or as formal as you like, with music, readings and venue all chosen by you.
Let our family care for your family. For your free funeral planning pack with everything you need to get started, go to gianhickton.co.nz/pre-planning.
Blocked drains, leaky pipes, don't let plumbing problems sideline your day. Call the team, Mike Pinfold Plumbing and Drain Laying Limited. Mike has been our sponsor since the very beginning, from quick fixes to full renovations. He's got the tools, the team and the know-how to get the job done right. First time, every time. Local, reliable and always on time. That's how Mike plays the game. Find Mike Pinfold at Pinfold Plumbing at extra.co.nz 027 430 4351. Mike Pinfold Plumbing and Drain Laying Limited. Also Google Mike Pinfold Plumbing and let the pros handle the flow. Here at Huddy Sports, we love a good game plan. And when it comes to travel, our go-to is Louise Reddy from New Zealand Travel Brokers. Whether it's a sports tour, a family break, or that bucket list trip, she'll get you there stress-free with all the best deals around. She's local, she's experienced, and she backs the game like we do, and she's a great supporter of Huddy Sports. Look up Louise Reddy at louisereddy.nztravelbrokers.co.nz or email louise@louise.reddy@newzealandtravelbrokers.co.nz. Travel smart and travel like a pro. Tēnā koutou katoa, mano mai, haere mai, and welcome to a mud field here with water at Ngati Toa Domain for this Jubilee Cup semi-final. The winner goes through to the prelim final next week against Haro Boys Maris. It is the home side Paremata-Plimmerton taking on Petone. Last week, Paremata-Plimmerton went down to Tawa 28 points to 26. And Petone probably performed their best game of the season, beating Porneki 37 points to 15. It doesn't matter here today, folks. Jubilee Cup on the line, 2 weeks to the big show. And joining me today in commentary, Adam Judy.
Tēnā koe, Brad. Look at that fat, slushy slob of mud. There's nothing sanitised or corporate about Jubilee Cup rugby. This will be an attritional struggle in atrocious conditions at Ngati Toa Domain. Paremata-Plimmerton and Petone playing for their very existence in 2025. The last time these two teams met, Brad, Paremata-Plimmerton prevailed by 2 points. A late Dale Sabag penalty edged the Hammerheads over the line. Both these sides share the same record, 9-5. Last Saturday, Petone eliminated Porneki, who had one more victory than them, convincingly by 37 to 15. Paremata-Plimmerton have had two brutal, heartbreaking defeats to Tawa in consecutive weeks. Both of those games lost in the last minute. So the key for Paremata-Plimmerton is nailing opportunities prior to the end of the game, therefore hoping to avoid another slender defeat. While Petone, the last time they were here at Ngati Toa Domain, Brad, they got absolutely decimated in the scrum. And on this heavy field, Paremata-Plimmerton will try and slow it down, and they'll look to utilise their magnificent halfback, Esi Savai, who has the record for the most tries in a single Swindale Shield season with 20.
All on display here today. The place in the Jubilee Cup for both these teams. The winner goes to the Hut Rec next week. The loser, that's your season over. Our referee team today is Nathan Pinder, refereeing his 9th Premier game. He'll be assisted by Zahn Johnson, who has the Harden Cup final in 2 weeks, and Stefan Wright, who refereed the curtain raiser here and made sure that the field was well and truly ripped to pieces at a waterlogged Ngati Toa Domain. We don't expect anything better than rugby at this time of the year to be played on grounds like this.
It's absolutely fantastic to have rugby in these conditions for a change. As I said, there's nothing corporate or sanitised about the Jubilee Cup as Petone and Paremata-Plimmerton, the two teams, wander onto the field. Paremata-Plimmerton will kick off and defend the southern end of Ngati Toa in the first half.
What a field.
New feature today is we have the referee mic'd up as well, so we'll be able to listen to some of his calls as we go through the game. We won't have him on all the time. Don't want to listen to referees every day of the week. But Nathan Pinder mic'd up today for this Jubilee Cup semi-final. And it'll be Dal Sabaj, the ever-experienced Dal Sabaj, who is going to kick off towards the northern end of Ngati Toa Domain. And Petone will be receiving the ball. Beautiful day. Here we go, Nathan Pinder to get this match underway. And the shrill of the whistle as we are underway here at Ngati Toa Domain. And it's been picked up well here by Logan Wakefield as he holds into that heavy drench of mud. Brocking, firing it back to Willett. 100% off the boot last week for Rory Willett, who played a blinder of a game. Knocked back that time there by Faliafunga. Advance 5 metres inside Petone's territory.
Tom Carter with the wrestle, tackle and steal.
Wow, that is excellent work there by the villagers. Pepe puts the box kick up. Down towards Sabag. Infield to Louis Northcote. Watch out for him, folks. 34 tries in his Paremata-Plimmerton career. And he's under it. And Lockie Forbes wins the battle. Good old-fashioned rugby on display here at Ngati Toa Domain. Driven forward hit by John O'Bailey. Brooking Out to Carter. Carter only knows one thing, and that is to run it straight. Back out to Kershaw. That was a forward pass, unfortunately.
Ben Kershaw is a late replacement for Marcus Royal. Royal withdrawn in his 94th game. Ben Kershaw has had something of a baptism of fire in Premier Rugby recently. He's only a recent graduate of St Patrick's College Silverstream. There was an early injury in the McBain Shield, Alapati Soki succumbing to an injury, and Kershaw bravely played 77 minutes of that contest, where Petone's scrum held much better than it did here at Ngati Toa the week before, where they were humiliated. And this is a good position for Paremata-Plimmerton. 5 out from halfway, 10 in from the largely congregated, passionate sideline.
First scrum fed in by Ikoma Fasai. Oh, and they're off to a blinder here. They've got the penalty advantage to play with. Hurstich comes off to slow down Ikoma Fasai's advancement. But yet again, scrum battles in Ngati Toa Domain, haunting Petone already.
Well, James Coburn is on the loose head side today. He played tight head in that mentioned game 3 weeks ago. James Coburn, a veteran of over 200 Premier matches. He's won a Jubilee Cup with Tawa, and he's marking Katoa, the tight head prop from Otago Boys High School. Didn't actually play in that game, but Ryan Emery in appearance 99 did, and he scored 2 tries. At tight head prop today for Paremata-Plimmerton is Malingi Leota, and he's replaced Junior Davey, who brought up 100 games last week.
Fed in by Mellon. Come off a side, takes it out to the back. Here's Sabag into Matt Hoosen, the older brother of Wes Hoosen, playing over in Edinburgh these days. Preston got engaged too as well. Ethan Webster Nonu takes it into the puddle of mud. 15 away from the 22. Crashing forward again. Come off a side, changing direction. Finds Webster Nonu. And they've got another penalty advantage to play with here.
Simple rugby by Paremata-Plimmerton. 1 pass off the ruck, direct carries. Entering the weak point of Petone's shoulders to thrust forward. There were some good tackles in that sequence of play by Jared Hurstich in his 101st game this afternoon, and Tom Carter in his 58th game this afternoon. But this is a kickable penalty for Paremata-Plimmerton, midfield 30 metres out, but an early statement of intent. They are opting for a line-out drive, and they have tall timber in the locking department with Masoe and Fiso.
Ezekiel Fiso previously played for Porneki before he moved out to Paremata-Plimmerton last year. He is the nephew of John Fiso, the Fiso group. Here's Toby Mellon. Paremata-Plimmerton Junior, but for the last 2 years was at the Upper Hutt Rams before being called home. Beats it in into the Fiso, and they look to put on the drive. And they put this drive going forward at the back there, onto the hands. Mellon coming for Sai. Ends on possession. Petone keeping them out for now. But this drive just slowly building up more. And it's been turned over. An excellent work there by the Villagers.
That was a menacing drive by Paremata-Plimmerton and a vital turnover for Petone. The captain, Connor Tuafao, was lucky not to be penalised for intervening offside. That call was missed by Nathan Pinder, today's referee, who sounds like Frau from Austin Powers in our effects microphone. But already the Paremata-Plimmerton approach is very obvious. 1 pass off the ruck, powerful forward carries, territory, drives and scrums.
Well, not happy with the stability there.
Both these teams have 9 and 5 records this season, Brad, so there's very little separating them. Tony, somewhat mediocre record in tight games, though. They lost here by 2 points, as previously mentioned. They were beaten 30-25 by Hutt Old Boys Marist in the McBain Shield, and they also lost tight encounters to Upper Hutt and Porneki.
Not happy again, as it's an issue for the referee to deal with at the moment. Nathan Pinder works as a clerk at the Supreme Court. Made the move from Auckland this year down to the capital city.
He's transferred the spot that this scrum has been held on, and this will be a problem this afternoon as the surface cuts up. This field is a massive advantage for Paremata-Plimmerton, who have the vastly superior scrum.
And it's a penalty to Petone.
James Coburn has been accused of pulling that down, and there's a wry smile from Coburn on that occasion. An early victory for Katoa, who was so impressive in that victory against Porniki last Saturday, Brad. That's an almighty kick.
That is a beautiful kick.
What a beauty from Rory Willett. And Willett possibly played the best game of his 28-game career for Petone last Saturday. 17 points and flawless goal kicking, 7 from 7.
Yes, he was outstanding last week, and his direction kicking as well was on task again. 29 for him today with Rory Willett. His father, Double O, is involved with the Premier Reserves. They've got the week off. Line out messy for Petone and picked up by Toby Mallon. It's coming for side. Reaches in like a forensic scientist back to Sabaj, who kicks this safely into touch. And the Petone line out. Well, one error already. They need to sort that out. Ryan Emery today, the hooker. Game 99 for Ryan Emery. Tony win today. Be game 100 next week. Looks to feed in this line out. And stolen again at the front through Fiso. They advance up to the 10-metre mark to Paremata-Plimmerton. Big charge this time here by Leota. First name Wordner, which is Andrew backwards. His father's called Andrew.
Fiso, a storming run up to the 10-metre mark.
Not much we can do about that, folks. It is the scaffolding today. But we would like to thank Paremata-Plimmerton for erecting the scaffold. It's much appreciated. As they stretch it out to Christian Pa'ave, the captain today. He hails from Sacred Heart College in Auckland. Crashes into Ben Kershaw. And that's a penalty, and over the top is John O'Bailey, who was immense in that area last week as well, alongside Braith Ingram.
Braith Ingram was an uncertain starter for this game. He was cited for an alleged headbutt against Porniki. Nothing materialised from that infraction, thankfully. He leads the best and fairest standings, awarded after each game on a 3-2-1 basis. Gisborne Boys High School product. Braith Ingram making a very strong impression in the capital. Christian Fa'ave, he's a very important player for Paremata-Plimmerton. Played 2 games for Taranaki in 2021. They had an unblemished season, 10 wins in a row, and he's a key source of line-out possession and one of their most instrumental ball carriers. As Ben Brooking goes dizzy, and the ball is missing from his hands, and Paremata-Plimmerton have a scrum.
Unfortunate mistake by Ben Brooking. Made his Petone debut back in 2016. And he started out as a half-back, and then for most of his career he's been mostly in the back three, wing and full-back, but he's, due to the injuries to the Petone half-backs this year, he's had to fill in at 9. But Petone do have the luxury of Logan Henry and Cam Ferreira on the bench today. Logan Henry coming back from injury, which he picked up against Porniki in the Swindell Shield.
Ben Brooking, a big-time player. Who could ever forget in 2022 his try to win a semi-final against Tawa. Logan Henry, a Centurion, has struggled with injury but has vast experience, including Hurricanes appearance and NPC footy for Manawatu. Cam Ferreira is another one battling injury. He's been summoned from the reserves the last fortnight and made his typically vibrant impact. Henry and Ferreira will also be expected to cover first 5.
Well, Feta and Coburn gets the better of Katoa as they press forward, and they're going to try and get another penalty. But it's out of time. Here goes cover for Sai. Slips off Brooking. He chips it over the top of Forbes. There's Louis Northcote chasing after it. And it comes out to Willett, who's been dragged down towards his try line. Petone rushing back quickly on defence. Brooking's back. Kicked down by Clark.
Dale Sabag has it for Paremata-Plimmerton. He rips it into centre field. For the fullback, Baker. Baker swerves around the outside of one defender, and then he provides for Faliafunga. Important intervention from Clark. Paremata-Plimmerton 20 metres away.
As he coming for Sai, looking to get it. Play on is the call, said referee Pinder. There's a coming for Sai again. He can play anywhere, this kid. He is just immense. Plays for a forward pass, but Tane Millen's Parata continues the advancement here from Mellon. And it's being picked back, and Connor Tuivelt allowed to play it. Here's Ingram. Smashed. That time there by Fiso. And also Coburn. Back down to Filippo. And Lossie Filippo. Kicks us back down to Paremata-Plimmerton, who decide to run it. Passed and forward to McMillan Parata. He's got Northcote in support. Beats the first tackler. And brought down 11 metres inside Petone territory. Sabag. Plays for a Sternum penalty, but to no avail. They can go again here through Maligi Leota.
He's been outstanding at the start of this game, Leota.
Is he what? Here's Fiso, wrapped around by Ingram. Tony having to commit a lot of tackles at the moment. Here's Mellon, smashed.
Buckled by Filippo.
Barner's been played for the Sternum tackle. Saw a lot of those last week too as well. Penalties for Sternum tackles against Petone. Ended up resulting in a player being in the bin. Ball's been passed in field to Fiso. Oh, good hit there by Jermaine Pepe. On comma for Sai. Wonder if he's still... Barnage is over. I think that's what Pinder said.
Pepe a smothering tackle on Leota.
Here's the bag. Out to Hussein. He slips. Oh, he's been given a roly-poly there too.
He's Ngati a Comanche.
Slippery enough out there. I was walking out there an hour ago on the boots, and geez, that is heavy under there.
Your hairpiece has changed colour.
Here's Fiso. They can go again through Mellon. And Paremata-Plimmerton just slowly working their way up inside the 22. 14 minutes gone. 0 is the score here at Ngati Toa Domain in this Jubilee Cup semi-final. Releases the call from Pinder.
Leota like a dagger on that thrust.
If they can go again. Pass from Parata. Plays for a turnover. No, not there this time for the Villagers. 6 away from the line now. Can they make it count? Here's Mellon again.
Good clean by Hussein. Collected Pepe. Half volley scoop by Sabag. Slings it wide for Northcott. He's taken towards the touchline. And then Carter barrels aside the next Paremata-Plimmerton foray. And what a staunch examination of Petone's defence that was. But they withstand a barrage.
Defence was impressive last week for the Villagers. Crashing into that big puddle of water there in the northern western corner. Secured by Wakefield. Captain of WRFU Bush last year was Logan Wakefield. Made the move over the hill to Petone. Here's Willett. Plenty of time and space for him. I don't think he kicked that to what he wanted, but safely into touch. Fortunately, they can't have their quick throw in as it's been hit by a foreign object outside the playing enclosure.
It's a unique atmosphere here at Ngati Toa Domain. Congregation of cars are assembled on the sideline. Among them, some four-wheel drives with lots of blokes consuming beer, missing teeth, with rather conspicuous tattoos. Very earthy.
Well, the van we got here today got stuck in the mud as well. We had to get the front row of the Prem reserves from Paremata-Plimmerton to push the van out of the mud. Knock on is the call from referee Pinder, and a scrum here for Petone.
They should get a bonus point for that.
I think they got a few bonus points. They won by 70 points to 0 over Johnsonville.
The subject of Johnsonville, they're playing Oriental Rongotai in the other elimination quarter-final. The winners to travel to Huddle Boys Marist and Tawa respectively, Lyndhurst Park and the Hutt Rec. The venues next Saturday.
Let's have a listen to referee Pinder at scrum time.
Johnsonville an early try against Oriental Rongotai. The Hawks leading 5-0 over the Magpies at the Polo Ground.
Solid scrum for Petone. Now Willett bangs it downtown. Oh! Cameron was a little bit eccentric of the swerve there that time. Comes down to Willett. And the force back unfolds here. And it rolls into touch, and that's another beautiful kick there by Rory Willett.
Rory Willett was dragged at half-time in the previous meeting between these two sides, and it was somewhat of a eureka moment for the young lad this season. Ever since that blemish, he hasn't put a foot wrong. He was introduced late into the McBain Shield and helped a Villages revival, and then last Saturday his performance against Kornecki was spotless really. Toby Mellon to throw to the line out. He's made a strong start to this game. Captain of the Silverstream first 15 in 2022 when they won the premiership. Colin Vasai spirals it to Sabag, short to Fa'ave. Barrels into TJ Clark.
Taken back is the call. Sabag puts up the high. Gary Owen. And secured by Petone. 15 inside Paremata-Plimmerton territory. Still no points in this game. 18.5 minutes gone. Brooking. Out to Willett. Jermaine Pepe. Filippo flicks it back towards Lockie Forbes, who has serious pace. But you've slowed down on this field today.
Good tackle by McMillan Parata.
Here's Jared Hurstich. Game 102 for him. His 100th game, McBain, 2 weeks ago. Here's Pepe again. Unfortunately, crashes into Leota. And looks like it's been stolen here by Paremata-Plimmerton, and it has been. Excellent work on defence. No pass out to Sabag. They look to run it out. Tuivale trying to get over the top. Up towards the 10-metre mark now for Paremata-Plimmerton. 0-0 the score. Oh, it's been flicked back by Sabag. Chasing back is Ingram. Oh, has that been knocked on? Play on is the call from referee Pinder. Into the 22. Paremata-Plimmerton push back.
That was an obvious penalty. Dale Sabag scrambling to retrieve the loose possession. Played the ball on the ground. Braith Ingram, what a menace he is. He was onto that like a magnet.
And Paremata-Plimmerton, of course, guilty of having a hand in there, and that's what the penalty was for.
Sabag tried to smuggle it back because the ball had been surrendered from his grasp. He tried to palm it towards Colin Vasai, but it was a rather obvious penalty. And this is a wonderful riposte by Petone. They were absolutely anchored inside their own 22 for the best part of 5 minutes. They stood up defensively, and now Rory Willett has a chance to kick the first points of the game. Look at those legs. They look like Tina Turner's in the mud.
Did she ever perform in the mud at a concert?
She performed at Athletic Park.
Oh, yeah. Penalty successful, and so it's the Villagers ahead of the Hammerheads. 3-0 here at Ngati Toa Domain. Nearly 21 minutes gone.
Wasn't the most authoritative kick by Rory Willett. It did the job, but he sent it through like an errant missile. So Petone first to score at the Polo Ground. Johnsonville against Oriental Rongotai in the other elimination quarter-final. And it's Johnsonville leading by 5-0 previously, but now Oriental Rongotai have a converted try, so it's 7-5.
I wonder what the state of the polo ground is today. Oof. Oh, taken well there by Wakefield. Slip and slide through that big puddle of mud. Here's Willett. Oh, that kick was as flat as a dead
Everybody's
pigeon.
onside. That was charged down.
Oh, here we go. No one home for Paremata-Plimmerton. Carter's chasing after it. One kick into the end goal. Has he put too much on it? Oh, Paremata-Plimmerton get back in time. It's been carried back, and it's going to be a 5-metre scrum, is it? No, it's a goal line dropout.
Well, Rory Willett tried to smack that low into the far corner, and it ricocheted off a Paremata-Plimmerton defender, which meant everybody was onside. Tom Carter, good presence of mind, boot to ball, didn't panic, and Paremata-Plimmerton really had to scurry in a hurry to cover that one. And here's the drop kick towards Forbes. He's 40 metres out, spirals it infield to Ingram. An angled run, slips a tackle, approaches the 22. Hanging on grimly was Fiso, Brad.
Certainly 5 away from the 22 now. Brooking. Carter slips on that one. Now they build it up again. There's Hurstich. He loves getting into the nitty and gritty. Slow here for Brooking. And Logan Wakefield, possibly the muddiest player out there at the moment. Here's Katoa. He knows how to get the Richter scale going. And unfortunately, he's been driven back. 6 away from the 22. 14 in from the western touchline here at Ngati Toa Domain. Willett, big pass. Put down by Hurstich. And Mellon is onto him like a hawk. Oh, kick through here by Filippo. And it's back there for Baker. And they look to bundle him into touch, but they haven't done so. It's great work there by Baker, under immense pressure.
It's a miracle that Baker stayed in. You had TJ Clark, the Hurricane, smothering him. Loose ball. Knock on by Paremata-Plimmerton, so some panic there. Sione Baker did sterling work to stay in field, but the halfback was out of position. There was nobody poised to clear. And a mediocre fumble presents Petone with a 5-metre scrum, 5 in from the clubhouse touchline, in front of a very radiant-looking Mark Fairmaid. He's got a Scorpio hat on there, the great Mark Fairmaid.
So a big scrum here for Petone.
It's a better bloke than Scorpio.
So, set piece for the Villagers. Can they make it count? We get to see Filippo.
Oh, it was a good kick by Filippo. Petone were headed nowhere with that phase play, and he just jabbed it in behind with the sabre kick. He's very good at that. Look at that Paremata-Plimmerton scrum. That is unbelievable.
Yeah, yet again, it's that side of Coburn that comes up trumps. But it's Leota who was getting the pats on the back that time.
Well, the whole 8 deserve a pat on the back. That was a total obliteration. Petone chewing grass after that one. Look at that clubhouse, Brad. That's one of the highlights here at Paremata-Plimmerton. One of the most supported clubs in the capital. It's a very rowdy but fair crowd on the opposite side. A few years ago, that place was completely barren. You know, Paremata-Plimmerton went through a phase in the Swindale Shield where they won 8 out of 86 games. Now they are a perennial contender. Hardham Cup finalists last year, Jubilee Cup finalists the year before.
Secured by Tuivau. It's Paremata-Plimmerton's throw.
Both teams' lineouts have been shocking to start this game.
Here's Emery. And Ingram, quick pass. Oh, no one was expecting that, and Carter has to tidy up. And that's a good run there by Carter. And there's an advantage being played here. High tackle will be the call on Trent Livesley. Another advantage again. Let's have a listen. lucky enough to be mic'd up to the referee today.
Just allows me. Okay, just like this. Yeah.
They'll go back for the first penalty advantage, or healthy position.
Tom Carter cleaning up that loose ball, and that's so typical of his game. Tom Carter, not the most flamboyant midfield back, but he's very efficient at what he does. He's a link man in the back line. He's got terrific vision, so he sometimes provides a kicking option, and he's very robust on defence. Tom Carter, underrated talent.
Secured at the back by Wakefield, and they put on the drive. They've been committed. No, he said referee Pinder. Well, that wind is just making a little bit choppy there to pick up the referee. So, fortunately, we couldn't quite hear what he said. But it's going to be a scrum because Paremata-Plimmerton didn't commit to that line-out drive. So, Paremata-Plimmerton with a scrub inside the 22.
This suits Paremata-Plimmerton. A stop-start muscular affair. Obviously, they want to be in better field position. But Petone, despite the wretched nature of the ground, will try and accelerate proceedings, because if it goes from stoppage to stoppage, Paremata-Plimmerton will likely prevail. Esi Komavasai, 20 tries in the Swindale Shield. Brad, he scored 2 in the first round meeting between these two sides, and he broke the record against Tawa. Had a wonderful 12 months. He had a spell with Horowhenua Kapiti in the Heartland Championship, and he said that changed his attitude towards pre-season training. He's much more diligent in that department now, and the results speak for themselves. It's a wonderful young man too. He works for Omar Tamariki with Disadvantage Youth throughout the week. On the subject of disadvantage, Komavasai under pressure there, but he releases the pass nicely to Hurson, and Hurson is grounded at the 22.
Komavasai fires it back to Sabaj. He bangs this downtown, safely into touch. Line out, 15 metres inside Paremata-Plimmerton territory here for Petone. Some scores here, Adam. Hardham Cup, Porneki 7, Wellington 0. 5-all, Mara St. Pat's and Norths. 15-0, Old Boys University ahead of Wainui Amada. 24-0, Upper Hutt ahead of Avalon. And 12-10, Ories Johnsonville.
Ories and Johnsonville played a classic semi-final 2 years ago. Johnsonville led 23-0 at half-time, but were beaten 39-23. So no doubt that result will be forefront of the Hawks' mind, who survived last Saturday, Brad, with an upset of Upper Hutt. Those two teams had played the previous week, and Yetatai Campbell, he might be in the Wellington Lions, good, versatile Hurricanes under-20 player, kicked a 50-metre penalty to win that one. And here's a storyline. Rory Willett, grimacing, is departing the field, and Jacob Tainui has come on. Now, Jacob Tainui was in imperious form last Saturday. He scored 2 tries in that Porneki success.
He's a regular in the Premier Reserves, and he's hasn't made much game time. Messi here, picked up by Paremata-Plimmerton. They advance it towards halfway. Imagine that we'll probably see TJ Clark move into first 5, coming in from the wing. Paremata-Plimmerton advance again. 4 inside Petone's half. Here's Sabaj. Now Dawson. Now they're building up nicely as Louis Northcote down the left-hand side. Been lost forward there by Paremata-Plimmerton.
A full stretch dive in the tackle by Lockie Forbes. That was a vital moment. TJ Clark's left foot propels the ball inside the Paremata-Plimmerton 22. Sione Baker ambles across, challenged by Clark, but that kick reaches halfway and lands into touch.
TJ Clark, of course, was on holiday in Japan last week. And here he is now, having to go back into the first 5 jersey, which he played in McBain a few weeks ago. Big throw here for Emery. Unfortunately, it's overthrown and picked up by Mellon again. So the lineouts for both teams continue to be messy. Oh, a good drive here again by Leota. Been lucky that the sun has remained out because we've had some terrible downpours of rain here today.
Cracking shot by Hurstich.
Big pass over the top to Baker. And Baker, supported by Northcote. 5 outside the 22. 6 in from Western touchline. We can go again here. We're out here on Tuesday for the New Zealand Māori Under-18 tournament. We were played on the field number 3 in the northern end there, as this field was looking pretty bad, and it's got worse. This whole area here behind the breakdown was just black mud.
It looks like something out of Monty Python, a sketch called The Reenactment of Pearl Harbor.
Into the 22 now for Paremata-Plimmerton, looking for the first try of this match. Here's Comer for side. Runs straight into Hurstich. And Hurstich might have turned this over. He has.
That was an unusual play by Comer Savai. He stuttered before he entered contact. Maybe his left ankle is of concern. As it is, you can see his right hand is heavily bandaged. Paremata-Plimmerton in that attack just running out of ideas. They didn't have the urgency or the direct forward momentum that they've enjoyed previously. They were just wandering across field. Petone making their tackles. 2 wonderful hits by Hurstich in that phase of play, and then there was a superb tackle by Lossi Filippo as Paremata-Plimmerton threatened to outflank Petone. Petone have missed touch, and Baker kicks it straight down to Clark, and Clark jabs it inside the 22. That ball stops 10 metres away from the line. Here's a chance of a breakout for Sabag. Instead he chooses to kick, and he finds the line just outside the 22.
Well, the line out would have been where Petone would have kicked it into touch if it had gone out on the full, but it hadn't been. So they'll have the line out here now. 7 away from the 22.
7 to go. 7 to go, okay.
7 to go is the call from the referee in the half. Now clock's pretty accurate.
Oh, that's fine.
Secured by Tuival. Now they take it out to the backs. Here's Ingram. Oh, this is another sternum high tackle. And this is in range of TJ Clark as well. He'll probably take over the kicking duties.
Leota on Ingram in that collision. TJ Clark will almost certainly kick for goal. In the previous meeting between these two sides, Petone led 25-24, and they were attacking the opposite end of the field, but they basically had a penalty in the exact same spot. They chose a line-out drive instead, lost possession, and ultimately lost the game.
Well, that was a warning given there by referee Pindit to Paremata-Plimmerton on high tackles. So here's TJ Clark to line up this conversion. Made his debut back in 2021. 335 career points for TJ Clark. And strikes it comfortably. And so it is 6-0. The Villagers ahead of the Hammerheads with 6 to go.
Rory Willett, the first penalty. TJ Clark, the second penalty. Paremata-Plimmerton down by 6. A scoreline that flatters them given the amount of possession and territory they've had in this game. But they've just lost momentum with their attack. They were far more vibrant in the opening 15 minutes of this game, and perhaps some kicking variations could be introduced too by Paremata-Plimmerton, some nudges along the ground to get him behind the Petone defence. That's a good result from the kickoff. The ball palmed into touch by Logan Wakefield. So Paremata-Plimmerton have a line out on the 10-metre mark.
Big line out here for Paremata-Plimmerton. It's Toby Mellon giving the ball a bit of a wipe down with the towel.
How many? 4.
So, moving the last layers of lard on the ball. There's Mellon. Goes to the back, and Tuivau looks like, oh, it's Bailey actually that comes up top. It's been knocked on by Paremata-Plimmerton. So both teams' lineouts, not going well. Petone's lineout actually last week against Porniki did very well. Today, though, they're unstructured, but they come away with the scrum here on the 15-metre mark. Assistant referee Zahn Johnson, about 10 metres in the field.
Well, the sideline is so muddy that Zahn Johnson might actually struggle to stand up in parts of it. The sideline is actually more muddy than the field itself. So that's a sensible judgment from Johnson, although you have to be careful if the ball pops out from the scrum blind side.
I need you to stay parallel to the goal line. I need you.
But it's like standing in quicksand on the sideline, the slush overwhelming. And of course, Johnson appointed to the Arden Cup final. Wants to remain clean for that appointment. It's a big deal. His first major final.
Of course, it's the Hardham Cup's been renamed to the Hardham BC Memorial Cup. Comes out quickly. SFM offside. It's been caught offside. Advantage being played here for Petone. Smacked down into the turf is Clark.
Number 9, offside. Can't go past the tunnel.
Cameraman's doing the best he can with that pole in the way, folks, but doing a sterling job is James Willits on the camera.
Just outstanding, James Willett. You can tell he's a good boy too. I mean, you wouldn't want to be dancing on that thing on a day like this.
That's a nicely guided kick into touch for Petone with 2.5 minutes to go here at Ngati Toa Domain. Been so fortunate that the rain has stayed away for this game. Just during the curtain raise, it absolutely bucketed down. Oh, great work there by Paremata-Plimmerton. And it's been knocked on here. And here's Tuivau picking up the scraps, and here goes Connor Tuivau. Stretching out wide. Unbounced balances.
That's an ambitious pass, but well trapped by Tainui. Adopted football skills to prevent that ball from going over the sideline.
And Filippo has done well to keep that in. And Petone close out this half with further points on the board. Minute and a half to go.
They can get this to centre field. TJ Clark is a good drop kicker as well.
Oh, it's been kicked through, but tidied up by Mellon.
That's a dreadful option. And here comes Essie.
And Fiso gives it back to Forbes. Play on is the call. Well, unfortunately, it's a...
How can you have a high tackle there? The bloke's on his knees.
Well, the advantage is there. And I think they might take the points here, Petone. That is against McMillan Parata.
Well, it's a fortuitous break for Petone. It was a dreadful option by TJ Clark. What was he thinking there? A minute until half-time, possession inside the 22, multiple attacking options, a potential drop kick. Now he has a chance to atone for that with a penalty kick. And the biggest challenge here in that fat slob of mud will be to get the elevation on the ball to propel it over the post. And 9-0, that's a very handy advantage at half-time for Petone. They've spent 2/3 of the game defending. And, of course, another 3 here takes it beyond a converted try. And Paremata-Plimmerton have struggled in recent times to score tries. Only 4 in their last 2 games.
So, here's Clark. Good distance, but it has drifted away to the right of the posts. And so it'll be 22-metre drop out. And last play called by referee Pinder.
No. You're in front of it. You're in front of the tunnel before he...
So here we go. Paremata-Plimmerton through Dal Sabaj. Jubilee Cup wins with Old Boys University and Norths. Oh, look at that ball.
Clumsy.
Just clumsy ball work.
Great tackle by Wilson as well, but Tony preserved possession. Pepe, lightning feet. He slithered through 3. Ingram bursts ahead. 22 in sight.
Here's Filippo down onto the 22. Paremata-Plimmerton looking to hold them up. Could this be the first try-scoring action of the match? Here's Jermaine Pepe, the man that started that run. Oh, that's another high tackle in the 22.
That's Coburn.
Here's Toival. They'll take the penalty here. And it's possibly going to be a yellow card. He has warned them.
Number 1.
That would be a massive loss if Paremata-Plimmerton were to lose James Coburn, and indeed they are. The best scrummager in the game departs for a reckless high tackle. Petone directly in front of the sticks, 15 metres out, could have a 9-0 lead at the interval.
This is Pepe down on the ground as well too, who was the victim of that high tackle. And Ferreira is getting his jacket removed. He might be required to come on. We'll probably rearrange the back line for the Villagers. Of course, Ben Brooking can easily go back to fullback. He has played there before. So here's Clark. Easy as you like. And so half-time here at Ngati Toa Domain. It is Petone ahead 9-0 ahead of the home side. And Adam Julian, Benita Ponda for the home side.
It was an intense, scrappy first half, and that's exactly what we expected on the bog that is Ngati Toa Domain. Paremata-Plimmerton started with real vibrance and urgency. They dominated field position and possession. They almost broke through, but Petone's resolute defence was a theme last Saturday, and it's a narrative prevailing here again. Resolute tackling, stubbornness over the ball, and eventually the tide turned. A Rory Willett penalty opened the scoring after 20 minutes, and TJ Clark has subsequently added 2 more as Paremata-Plimmerton have lost their direction somewhat on attack, struggling with the line out and now struggling with their discipline. James Coburn absent for the first 10 minutes of what promises to be a blockbuster second half. Petone up by 9, but Paremata-Plimmerton won't surrender easily.
Well, folks, that's half-time. We'll be back in a few minutes for the second half. Well, welcome back, folks, as half-time coming to an end. 9-0 to Petone ahead of Paremata-Plimmerton. And Paremata-Plimmerton down to 10 for the next 10 minutes as James Coburn was yellow carded for repeated team infringements for high tackles. Pinder gets the second half underway, and it's Petone playing to the northern end of Ngati Toa Domain. Well, I think Petone might have been a bit lucky there for a high tackle, but play on is the call. Here's Pepe back onto his feet. He took a nasty knock after that high tackle.
Paliafunga, an important tackle. Pepe's been elusive in this game.
Here's Clark putting up the high kick. His brother Sam used to play here at Paremata-Plimmerton until last year. This year he's playing his rugby up in the Taranaki. Here's Lockie Forbes. Retreat has been called by referee Pinder. Now they go for Paliafunga. He goes into Wakefield. Paremata-Plimmerton need to score very quickly to get some momentum in this game, and they've got the penalty advantage here as the break comes into the 22 here by Ethan Webster Nonu. Koma Fasai to Sabaj into the hands of Matt Husson, who kicks it down, and Louis Northcote picked up by Brooking. The advantage is over for that high tackle. Petone 5 outside their own line under pressure. You've got Pepe down there in the box, but it's come back out to Clark. He uses that big boot of his to bounce it over the 22.
That's a really good clearance by TJ Clark. Not only has he escorted the ball over the sideline, but he kicked it into the changing room, which meant Paremata-Plimmerton couldn't take the quick line out. A scything run by Ethan Webster Nonu to start the second half. He was invisible in the first spell. He's a dangerous player. He's played for the Wellington Lions. He needs to assert himself more. The advantage for Paremata-Plimmerton elapsed just as Louis Northcott put the kick in. That was a fortuitous break for Petone, who have made a change. Logan Henry is poised to come on, and Jacob Tainui is out there in 22 as well.
He replaced Rory Willett midway through the first half, did Tainui. Here's Toby Mellon, who had a sensational first half. Can he let it continue? Good throw, and it's been knocked back here by Paremata-Plimmerton. Emery heavily involved. Matt Husson. Tony trying to get over the pool. They've been very aggressive at the breakdown. There's Leota. There's Louis Northcote. Dangerous
Smashing
weapon.
tackle by Emery.
You have to get on Northcote quickly. Any space, and he's away. Oh, big hit on Livesley. And Husson gives it out to Christian Varve. And now they're into the 22. Can they be the first team? Here's Paliafunga. Ripped up by Kershaw and Tuival. Playing under advantage for a high tackle. Tuival bundled out of the way. Here's Paliafunga again. Looking to be more involved in this second half. There's Koma Fasai. Now to Sabaj. See, only Baker crashes into Ryan Emery. It's Livesley down there in the foreground there. Not looking too well. Oh, there's a good tackle there by Hurstich. Lined that one up well around the ankles.
He's absolutely reveling in these conditions as Jared Hurstich. Quick tap by Essie. Pinder not having that.
I'm back for that high tackle before. If you're Paremata-Plimmerton. Of course, no Coburn.
No Coburn, but there's still a blindside to work with. And so far in the second half, Paliafunga has been very lively. But if I were Paremata-Plimmerton, Dale Sabag, prolific point scorer, take the three, evaporate some of the time that Coburn has in the sin bin, and get back into the contest on the scoreboard. And that's indeed what they've chosen to do. Wonderful story, Jacob Tainui. He scored 2 tries in that game against Porniki last Saturday. And I was chatting with the young lad after that match. I asked him to illustrate his injury history. Have a listen to this. He's more familiar with hospital wards than the Petone wreck. Broken jaw, fractured scapula, subluxation of the shoulder, whatever that is, partially torn bicep, broken hand, partially torn quad, split knee, resulting in surgery. What a tough young man he is, Jacob Tai Nui.
Probably made up of titanium these days.
Oh, you're not wrong. Here's Dale Sabag. That is a peach of a kick. And suddenly it's 9-3. And Paremata-Plimmerton score their first points despite the absence of their talismanic loose head prop.
Scores from half-time around the ground. So it's Pornicki 22, the Axman 0. 11-5, Northern United ahead of Marist St. Pat's at Evans Bay Park. 27-5, Old Boys University ahead of Wainui Amata. 43-0, Upper Hutt ahead of Avalon. 15-12, Jayville ahead of Oris out at the Polo Ground. Logan Henry on. There's the restart. Secured down by Esi Kamafasai, the 22. And he bangs this down into touch. That's a nicely guided kick there by Kamafasai.
And the poor restart by Petone. Why hammer that deep? They've got a one-man advantage. The field is very heavy at the 10-metre mark. You need to create a contest and try and get possession back. 6 minutes gone in the second half, and Petone have hardly touched the ball.
So Emery, led by Tuival. Henry fires it out to Herstich. Herstich brings it up to the 10-metre mark. Now they have to release. Henry goes for the box kick. Underneath is Tainui. And lost forward by Paremata-Plimmerton.
Sione Baker's been called for a knock-on. He collided with Jacob Tainui. So Petone scrum on the 10-metre mark in the middle of Mud Island as Paremata-Plimmerton's Brenton comes on to prop up the scrum. It's actually the first scrum since Coburn went to the sin bin. Expect a lot of box kicks from Logan Henry. He's an accomplished player who's performed at the professional level, and that's a demand on that calibre of talent. Lots of spiral box kicks.
Right in the island of mud. Bit in here by Logan Henry for this scrum. Solid. Here's Clark. Kicks it through. No one home there in the 22, and it rolls in for Forbes, but he's been bundled into touch.
Clever kick. Louis Northcott was up rather flat there, and Clark recognised the space. Forbes, absolute flyer. 13 starts this season, one of the biggest improvers in the competition. Snaffled the ball, but just ran out of real estate. But Paremata-Plimmerton's line-out hasn't been overly reliable. Fiso, their best jumper. This is a short one.
He's been good today, Fiso, at line-out time. So, here we go. Mellon to feed this into
Dale Sabag with the clearance. It bounces on the 10-metre mark and skids to the 22. Pepe collects it. Now, he's opted to run on several occasions in this game. This time he's shut down by Northcott and Hurson. Petone scrambling to arrive at the ruck. Forbes has it. Rush pass. Clattering tackle by Northcott on Bailey.
Gives him a good shove on the ground too as well to let him know about it.
Not releasing now, we got here, lost foot. You got anything there, Zach?
That was a great tackle by Louis Northcott. He wins a lot of acclaim, rightly so, for his sparkling attacking talent. But he's a very good defender, given his bantamweight size. He zeroed in on the ribcage there of the Petone ball carrier and made a shattering collision. He's also quite robust on his feet, and that's one of the major changes in the contemporary game, Brad. The ability of wingers to come in and snaffle turnovers. Big Jim Tamosi Tamatamanawa has made a habit of that for the Highlanders and Tasman, and now he's in the All Blacks. Now here's a good attacking scrum for Paremata-Plimmerton. Faliafunga has space on the blind side. Open, there's 5 backs.
I'll have to reset this one.
How come this side? What's the problem? He's straight in. Okay, I'll come this way. I'll come this way.
Isn't that wonderful audio? The sounds of winter.
Yeah.
Someone needs to bottle these sounds up and make a soundtrack. Like those ESPN football films. You know, the best sound of winter, Brad, and it's always at the beginning of a season. The sound of clattering boots on concrete as muddy warriors descend upon the field to embark in Braveheart tussles.
Come up for side, feeds the scrum.
That's a
Oh,
good
they come up.
by Petone.
Oh no, they've done well, but it comes out in time for the Hammerheads. 15 inside Petone's territory, and they've got a penalty to play with here, Paremata-Plimmerton.
That's really big.
Finals rugby at its finest. There's Mellon sliding through. And we'll come back for the penalty.
Put it down, 20. Not rolling away. Yeah. Oh, sorry, this way.
Oh, he's got the wrong direction. And look for Sabaj to probably have a shot at goal again, which he does.
Not rolling away in these conditions. That isn't the most brutal infringement you can give away.
Guys, your players back in, so leave a subs in as well.
So here we are. Sabaj to line this one up. 1,186 career points for Sabaj. This is a big moment here for Paremata-Plimmerton to reduce this margin down to 3. So, Pinder. Petone. This margin will still remain 6 as the penalty shot by Sabag has missed its target.
That's unusual. Dale Sabag, the most prolific point scorer in this game, with a relatively straightforward miss. James Coburn is now back on the field. Paremata-Plimmerton restored to a full complement.
Here's another ball.
Jubilee Cup quarter-final. The winner of this game to face Huddle Boys Marist next Saturday, who stunningly upset Oriental Rongotai, the Magpies' first loss of the season at the Polo Ground.
Banged down by Clark, coming for sight. It's been ruled that it's gone backwards. Back down to Clark. TJ Clark puts up the high kick again. Underneath it, it's Paremata-Plimmerton. And that is one bounce and into touch. And that's great success. Just outside the 22 for Petone.
That is a great kick, but Petone have more recognised kickers on the field now. TJ Clark, very accomplished off the left foot. Logan Henry, the professional halfback. Lockie Forbes has a good right foot as well. Dale Sabag is a fine kicker. Koma Savai not really recognised for that. So either one of Paliafunga or Baker are going to have to step up in that department.
Free
Now,
kick.
Here's a chance for Paremata-Plimmerton.
Free kick for not straight. And they'll put down a scrum, and they've got Coburn back as well. Score update from the Polo Ground, 18-15.
You can never sit still when Koma Savai is playing. He's ignored the scrum. He's taken the quick tap. Paremata-Plimmerton are 20 metres away.
The Petone defence is going to have to be up to the task here. 9-3 the score. 13 minutes gone. As Paremata-Plimmerton try to suffocate this Petone defence in. They pick and go again. It's been a titanic clash here at Ngati Toa Domain. Petone love the breakdown, and they love it when they're on defence. But Paremata-Plimmerton are up trumps at the moment. Finals rugby at its finest. They drive again. They have to release. Paremata-Plimmerton still into the 22. They've got a penalty advantage to play with. 10 away from the line now. Out to Mellon. Mellon isolated by Henry, but will come back for the penalty.
Low, hard, purposeful, direct drives. That is exemplary wet weather rugby from Paremata-Plimmerton. And that's the type of game that yielded them a lot of success, albeit without points in the first half.
They called for a scrum.
Interesting, Alex Fido was omitted from this game. He was due to come on from the bench. So that's one of the Hammerheads' big attacking options removed. But Junior Davey, 100 games of Premier experience, is yet to enter. And Davis Ina is dynamic. But young Toby Mellon, he's having a wonderful match this afternoon. He's been very abrasive from contact, busy around the field with the ball in hand. And the lineouts, given the conditions, have functioned well enough. Sione Baker at first receiver on the blind side. Sabag is placed opposite to him.
New hooker for Petone as well. Connolly Alexander on jersey 16, replacing Ryan Embry. Game 99 complete for him. 9-6 the score. As the Petone scrum facing the pressure of Paremata-Plimmerton inside their own 22. 9-3 is the score. Yet to be a try in this game. Kamafasai feeds it. They put the push on. And they look to roll it through. Christian Va'ave. And it's a penalty. An offside. Halfback Logan Henry offside.
This is exactly where Paremata-Plimmerton want the game. It's an absolute sauna in the scrums for Petone. Connor Tuiafau being spoken to. I suspect that's a warning. It's unattractive, but it's highly effective from the Hammerheads.
Have your option, please?
So option being called. They're going for a scrum again, and that is a good option since they had great dominance at the last scrum.
Okay, I didn't see a step over here, and I was on this side. On the side of what?
Paremata-Plimmerton and Petone in the regular season contest the Ken Gray Cup. Ken Gray, the greatest All Black prop, would be salivating in these conditions.
Certainly would be. 27-25 that day. You were out here, Adam, calling that game on radio. Petone had an opportunity in the last few minutes for a shot at goal, which they turned down.
The thermostat rises. The packs collide. Petone hemorrhaging. Paremata-Plimmerton rampant with advantage. Kamafasai lurks. He loses the ball. Great tackle by Henry.
And someone's going to the bin here. Here we go.
James Coburn is pointing to the player.
And Katoa has been yellow carded.
On your bike, son.
Well, he's had the number of Katoa at scrum time today.
James Coburn, that is an intimidating prospect on a heavy field in an elimination final. This guy has been playing Premier Rugby since 2011. He is a warrior. Look at these vivid pictures being provided by James. The numbers fading rapidly, covered in blood, sweat and mud. Nothing to be sacrificed today in terms of effort. The loser heads to the beach for the summer.
Jersey 17, Basner Snowden on. Late call up with the injury to Marcus Royal.
He's in the Colts. What an examination this is against Leota, who started this game explosively. Hasn't been as prominent since, but he's reveling in these scrum battles here.
Oh, unstable again.
In the smaller back, please.
So, Petone, you have to be careful here. 10 away from the try line. But if they give away another penalty here, I imagine referee Pinder would be thinking close to a penalty try.
Absolutely. I mean, you'd rather that sanction in a way than Petone being reduced to 13. That makes the game a shambles. The packs meet again. Petone flop.
That's on Snowden's slide, but there's no penalty advantage to play with. And here they crash through. 8 away from the line now for the Hammerheads. Great defence that time there by Bailey. As Paremata-Plimmerton look down the short side. And they're just short, a metre away. Filippo under pressure with his teammates. Driving forward, still short of the chalk.
Conley Alexander defiant.
Great pressure. Finals rugby at its finest. Jubilee Cup. Prelim final place on the line. There's a penalty advantage. And that ball nearly hit the chalk.
Ben Kershaw offside.
Come off a side, they lunge through. They're still short. There it is. Is that Fiso on the line? No, it's not.
Alexander.
Look at these pitches. Determined. Keeping them up. How is this possible? Now are they on the line? They are! Try time! Heads. It's hard to see who they
Patient, belligerent, inspirational. It's the captain, Tane McMillan Parata. He's been diving in the mud on this ground since he was 5 years old. And is that the Paremata-Plimmerton into a Jubilee Cup semi-final? Petone scrum in disarray. They were lucky not to concede another penalty when the youngster completely buckled. But Paremata-Plimmerton instead hit the left side. They were patient. They were forensic. They were expert. And they have broken through. It took an hour. But McMillan Parata's try, followed by Sabah's conversion, puts the Hammerheads in the lead.
First time in the match for Paremata-Plimmerton in the lead. 10-9 the score. 18 minutes remaining. Still plenty of time here for Petone, but they are a man down with Katoa in the bin. And so, jersey 18, Junior Davey coming onto the field for Paremata-Plimmerton, product of Porirua College.
And it's equally compelling at the polo ground, Brad. Johnsonville 18, Oriental Rongotai 15.
Here's Clark. That kick and knocked on. And that's worked out for for Petone. Right into that island of water and mud.
He's falconed James Coburn. Coburn's knees sinking so violently into the ground that he almost gave his regards to the earth's core. And his nose looks like Rudolph after that collision. I think that restart was more by accident than design for TJ Clark, but Petone have a chance if they can release this ball quickly with space on the blind side. But Coburn, he's going to be furious here.
He will be, but I think he'll be more enough fired up for the scrum.
Dog eat dog is the call from Paremata-Plimmerton.
They have to reset. Really nowhere else where you can reset this scrum. So, Coburn.
That's Jermaine Pepe in the scrum. Look at that. Number 15 for Petone is in the scrum.
Wow. Jermaine Pepe.
He wouldn't mind Don Clark as a front row, but I doubt Bob Scott ever did this for Petone.
No. So Logan Henry. The scrum comes together. They need to get this out quickly, and he does that just in time. Out to Clark. Here's Tom Carter. And they wrap around Carter quickly. 8 inside Paremata-Plimmerton territory, centre field. Here's Snowden.
He sits. Melon on his wallet. Good charge from the youngster.
Here's Bailey, supported by Pepe and Alexander. Big time moments here in the Jubilee Cup semi-final, and they've got a penalty to play with. And remember Clark, he can kick, but it's in that puddle of water. Henry with the box kick.
Alexander chasing with Tainui.
Tainui, oh!
He goes down in a collision with Faliafunga. In the meantime, the ball is grounded by Baker with Alexander bearing down. We return for the penalty.
Now, I imagine that you probably go for the shot at goal here.
If you target the ball, you run your own risk.
Jacob Tainui scored a try from a chip and chase last Saturday against Porneki. TJ Clark has turned down the option of a shot, and Petone will have a line out on the 22. The lumbering figure of jersey 18 is the Pigeon Sam Thompson. He checks into the game.
And he'll be replacing John O'Bailey. He's been a workhorse for Petone this year, today as well. Got that early turnover at the start as well.
John O'Bailey will need a fire hose to clean himself up.
Probably a water blaster.
An unbelievable effort by all these players, but Bailey in his 34th appearance, forefront in the forward tussle. 14 minutes left in either one of Paremata-Plimmerton and Petone's seasons. At the Polo Ground.
Jersey 19, Luke Pearson coming on for Petone. Ben Kershaw has, well, this is a concern for Kershaw. He's already had shoulder niggles that kept him out of rugby last year, and he's come off holding that right shoulder, which he's had issues with in the past.
Well, the bigger issue in the immediate future, and we do wish Ben Kershaw a speedy recovery, is the scrums. Will it go to uncontested scrums? And if it does, that is a massive win for Petone. They are being pulverised in that department of the game.
Here we go, line out time for the Villagers. Stolen by Paremata-Plimmerton, and it's gone into touch. And a line out, 5 away from the line.
It was a volleyball spike by Fiso, but as it is, it gives Petone an incremental advancement. Conley Alexander with clean jerseys to throw to. But he opts for his captain.
Secured by Wakefield. But it's down there, they have to use it now, Petone. Logan Henry, it's slow coming. And they've got a penalty to play with if they want it. Out to Filippo! Lossie Filippo! Lossie Filippo still going! Has he got it over the line? No! We'll come back for the penalty. Hands on the ruck is the call.
How would the referee know?
I think that came through the assistant.
I mean, how would you know? Hands in the ruck in these conditions. It's like a lunar eclipse at the bottom of those pile-ups. But nonetheless, young Nathan Pinder doing a very good job. And here's a bold call from Petone. My goodness, they have chosen a scrum. Now, it is the ideal position for an 8-9 dispatch, but their scrum is incredibly wobbly, and this is audacious.
Well, probably the saving grace. It looks like it's uncontested, Adam.
Well, that's why they've chosen this option, and Jacob Tainui has joined the scrum. There's a possibility, Brad, that every Petone back might become a scrummager by the end of this game.
Not every day the backs like to get involved in the forwards. Here we go. Centre field with Filippo. Filippo. Oh, it's an awkward pass. Back out to Pepe. Nearly picked up there by Paremata-Plimmerton, and Pearson's there to tidy up the scraps, and they've been pushed back over the 22.
That was a panic pass by Filippo. He ought to have held that.
And now they have to start again, the Villagers, through Tuival. Just outside the 22. Building nicely again. Petone don't want to have to go to extra time. They know about that from last year against Oriental Rongotai. Still going. Henry. Back out to Pepe. Scragged down by Northcote.
He's been really good, Pepe, today.
Been gutsy as well, too, on defence. Oh, there's an advantage being played. This is another penalty if they need it. Here's Forbes. That beeping is not the taxi, folks. It's the referee's comm set making beeping noises.
That's his heart rate.
Now they're still going. 10 away from the line. Out to Sam Thompson. Henry finds Clark. He's knocked it on, but we'll come back for the penalty. And this is kickable range for Clark.
It is. But Petone have shown a lack of willingness to take the shots at goal. They've only missed one this afternoon. Clark has 2 of the 3 penalties. Rory Willett subbed out of the game, injured early on. Of course, the uncontested scrum does provide a platform from which the back line can launch. And it's a massive disadvantage for Paremata-Plimmerton for that weapon to be taken away. It's obviously paramount safety-wise to have capable scrummages in the front row, but this is a elimination season-defining game. To have Golden Oldies scrums is bitterly disappointing.
Well, they've gone back to contested scrums by the looks of it.
Wow.
And they're going to kick to the corner. Well, remember, Katoa was in the sin bin, so... And then Kershaw went off injured. So, here we are. Petone with the line out. Conley Alexander. The line out throw is in the Heartland under-20s last year.
Katoa and Kershaw are injured. Gus McMillan will be playing prop if they make the semi-finals next week.
Picked up by Tuival. Now they look to drive, but Paremata-Plimmerton have shut it down. They pick and go again. Hard to see the numbers now. Katoa, fresh from the sin bin. Looks to drive. Here we go. Sam Thompson in support. Great work there by Maligi Leota. Here's Alexander. Herstich. Looks like he's going a full 80 at this stage. Herstich. Just short. Petone pounce. And it's Paremata-Plimmerton they have to defend. There's the ball. Now they change direction. Carter! Tom Carter's has been brought down.
Junior Davey, a try-saver.
Henry surveys the options. Ingram at the back at acting halfback. He goes himself. Ingram's still going. Katoa with Tuiva on support. They look to crash. Quickly they have to get it out. Here's Clark. Sandwich between Sabaj, who's off his feet now. Can't get the ball. Now they stretch it out wide. Pepe. Out to Tainui. And Tainui. Has he got it down? He has. The referee has awarded the try. He scored 2 last week. And how important could that try be now?
Jacob Tainui, a stutter step, just caused some hesitation from the defender Baker. He ricocheted off the right shoulder of this titanium winger. He got low and he slithered over in the left corner where the paint is now unrecognisable from the mud. And Tainui knew he'd scored that try. As he was prone on the ground, he turned his head left and gave a little wink, and the red mouthguard was revealed by a glorious grin. That's a superb try by Tainui, and Petone lead by 14-10, audaciously turning down multiple shots at goal to score their first try of the afternoon. TJ Clark.
Northcote charging him down. Clark, can this go through? No, it doesn't. So 4 points in it. 14-10 is the score.
A try to win it. How often is that expression used around New Zealand? Everywhere from Stewart Island to Whangarei. A scrap in the mud. Not much time left. A try to win it, Brad.
Certainly is. And how important is this man here with the ball in hand? Sabaj goes for the short option. Picked up by Wakefield. They advance at 12 away from halfway for the Villagers. They have to use it. Go for the box kick. It's being knocked back in favour of Petone. Has it? No, it's Rafkesi coming for side. Has been bundled into touch.
He's been quiet today, Essie. Hasn't really been given the chance to run. Obviously, he's forensically marked by this Petone team. But watch for Essie to do something magnificent in these last 5 minutes. So often, he's the charisma and the courage that holds this Paremata-Plimmerton team together. There's Toby Mellon. He's gone 75 Hercules-like minutes.
What a performance by Toby Mellon today. If they can get the win, he'd probably be up there as player of the match. Been immense today, has Toby Mellon. It's been overthrown. Oh, knocked on, has it? No, it's a free kick for not straight. So, get out of jail for Petone there. Clark takes it, kicks it downfield.
That's a really good option by TJ Clark.
Here's Baker.
Has it.
Bangs it down back to Pepe. Now to Forbes, that is. Forbes decides to kick himself. It's one bouncing into touch directly in front of our commentary position, right on halfway. Less than 5 minutes to go. 14-10. Paremata-Plimmerton line out.
It was a ropey clearance by Lockie Forbes, typically so composed under pressure, but this status is different. This is season defining. 5 minutes left. Can Paremata-Plimmerton secure this line-out ball and then potentially envelop the game in a scrum? We understand the scrums, which were briefly uncontested, are now contested. That might be Paremata-Plimmerton's best chance to break through the stubborn Villagers' wall.
So Mellon just getting the ball cleaned up again. And for this short option at the front for Fiso, who's been immense at line-out time today. Back into the hands of Zane Edwards. And they've got a penalty to play with. And it's another sternum tackle. It's been a problem for Petone all afternoon.
Tainui, the try scorer, the guilty party there.
And they'll look to bang this down.
That's Zane Edwards in jersey 20 for Paremata-Plimmerton. He's a left footer, so that's a different option with the kicking than Dale Sabag. He's found touch at the 22. Biso, the most reliable line-out target, needs to get two hands on the ball here and possibly launch a drive.
A few more substitutions as well for Paremata-Plimmerton. Two more coming on. Got Marzi Karam's on.
And Essie Komavasai is off, which is an extraordinary decision given he has the ability to do almost anything.
Here we go, into the midfield. Paremata-Plimmerton into the 22. A try here would win it for them, one would think.
They've lost their last two games in the last minute. Can they reverse that trend?
Oh, it's bounced off Ethan Webster-Nonu's head. And it's gone backwards. It looks like it is new jerseys on for Paremata-Plimmerton. There's a few numbers. Sometimes they match the jerseys. Emery McGill's on in jersey 21. He played for Petone last year. Former head boy of Atapolda College. A boxer as well. It's slow and grim, but this is what we love about finals rugby here in Wellington. It's a penalty advantage to play with.
This is exactly what Paremata-Plimmerton want the scrum. Webster-Nonu, short to Leota. The tight head prop has rummaged away.
That's another penalty advantage. Edwards changes direction. Mellon's down on his haunches. The cross kick comes. Forbes is underneath it, but will come back for the penalty. And there's a bit of push and shove in the background.
He was absolutely smashed by Louis Northcott, who is smiling so hard he's almost giggling. But here is the season at stake for both these teams. It's like the 1995 NPC final. Auckland Otago. Is there going to be a Colin Hawke call from referee Pinder? Can Petone summon a way to survive?
They're going to go for the scrum, are they?
Over here.
And they are.
I need to talk to them first to figure that out.
I think Kato might be having nightmares here. It's a scrum similar to where he got yellow carded before.
Guys, we can test it.
The Jubilee Cup finals where legends are made.
Kato is down injured.
Now, the inquiry is a reasonable one here. Is that a deliberate injury?
And it's
I
a
mean, the crowd
substitution.
are absolutely howling here, and not without good reason. We don't want to make accusations about the integrity of the participants, but that is, dare I say it, a rather convenient injury.
Well, he doesn't look actually that flash, Katoa.
Well, he's walking.
Gingerly, though. So, here we go. So, uncontested scrums.
Well, it's still an advantage in the sense that Paremata-Plimmerton will have a clean dispatch of possession.
Wait, go. They have to match, that's right, yep. You guys have to match.
Well, uncontested scrums. Here we go.
Contested, yep.
Drama at Ngati Toa Domain in this Jubilee Cup semi-final. Hang on to your pacemakers. This is a thrilling finish up here.
Just stay down.
Can the home side score late? Edwards. Bet they go to Karam. Coming for size, still on. Northcote! Northcote's got into touch.
Jermaine Pepe, he's been resolute and heroic in this game, and that was a very strong tackle. Somewhat pedestrian, that attack, though. It was telegraphed. It was obvious. And Petone just migrated across, marked the space, and ultimately forced Paremata-Plimmerton to run out of real estate.
Alexander gives it to Wakefield. It's a free kick for Not Straight. And Paremata-Plimmerton have it. So here we go. They take a go. And it's all on battle stations here. They've got the try. Have they? No, they've lost it. They've locked it on. And referee Pinder says there's still time. And it's an uncontested scrum for Petone. And James Coburn is livid.
It was McMillan Parada who lunged for the line, and it bobbled free from his grasp. Coburn has every right to be furious. He has been the most destructive personality in this game. And Petone, from a stable platform, have a chance to clear and possibly win.
So
It's been a gutsy effort from Petone. My goodness, they have been pulverised in this contest, but somehow, some way, they have found a way.
it's here. It's with Tuival. Henry kicks it down. Has it gone into touch? It has. There's still time to play, folks. It's a line out for Paremata-Plimmerton. 5 out, 6 outside their 22. Finals rugby. It's intense. This is how rugby is played. Mellon. Secured by Fiso. And here we go. Into the midfield. 3 away from the 22. The Villagers have to defend again. Paremata-Plimmerton attack. Here's Fiso.
Tuiafel wrestles him down. He's over the ball.
Here they are now. Into Finau.
Wraith Ingram defiant.
Edwards has a change again. Now they crash through. Good tackle by Tuivau again.
Luke Pearson as well around the ankles.
Coburn. Denied before. They were pleased for a knock on, but play on is the call. Paremata-Plimmerton advance into the 22. Now they stretch it out. Looking to hold them up.
Connor
Edwards.
Tuiafel, 3 tackles in this sequence.
Now they stretch it out wide. Come up inside the Magic Man. Gives it out to Finau. Here's Embry. Can he score against his old club?
Henry the tackler.
10 out from the line. 4 in from the western touchline. They look to barge through it for Fiso.
Filippo hangs on.
Here's Mellon. The Villagers keeping the hammerheads out for now. It's slow and it's grim, but this is finals rugby at its best. Ingram's nearly over the top, but he's been cleaned out. Out away from the line now. Oh, was it a high tackle? It is. They don't want the shot at goal. They have to score a try.
It was Herstich who made the accidental high shot. It was a tough one. The player was dipping. But to the strictest letter of the law, that is a penalty. Now, potential set-up from a scrum here for Paremata-Plimmerton. Blind side. Webster Nonu is really the only outside back that's made a break in the game. They haven't opted for that choice. It looks like a tap.
They've gone for the tap. Here's Wagner. Maligi Leota. He deserves a try. He's put in a titanic performance today. They look to hold them up. They have to release now. Paremata-Plimmerton. 5 away. The Villagers hanging on grimly. Can they keep them out? Slow. They pick again. Out of the line. Tuivo's over the top. He has to release, is he? No, he's got the penalties out. It's a penalty, and they're probably going to lose a player to the bin here. And he is. He's gone. That is Snowden. It's gone.
Well, that was Tuiafo's penalty. Better to have Tuiafo on the field than the reserve prop, with respect.
They're down to 14 again. And Paremata-Plimmerton. Hot on the line. It's loose ball. Has it been knocked on? No play on is the call.
It was knocked on by Ingram.
It's a penalty. It's going to be another yellow card. Is it? He did the double blast of the whistle, but no. No card given. Oh, it's all happening here at Ngati Toa Domain. The drama, the tension. They're going to go for the pick and go again. A spot in the prelim final on the line. Paremata-Plimmerton crash. The Villagers hang on. Fiso.
McMillan Parata.
Oh, there's the ball.
Powers through Tainui. Henry holds him up. Loose ball.
The ball's there for Paremata-Plimmerton. Mellon, can he score? Mellon! Toby Mellon's got the ball down, is it?
Tainui made an intervention.
And it looks like Petone might have got it, have they? No. Who's got it? Paremata-Plimmerton's got it. Now they're out to the corner. It's try time. And they are through to the prelim final.
Zane Edwards dummy. Caught Wakefield flat-footed. And Paremata-Plimmerton, who suffered the agony of 2 last-minute defeats in a fortnight to Tawa, have flipped the script and toppled Petone. Sympathy for Petone has to be extended for that heroic defensive effort. They lasted 6 minutes after regulation time, but the Hammerhead scrum was a tonic for so much good, and they persevered and powered their way home. What a dramatic win. Paremata-Plimmerton, 2 successes away from their first Jubilee Cup.
Conversion unsuccessful. It doesn't matter because it is Paremata-Plimmerton that are through to the prelim final against Huddle Boys Maris. They are the victors here today. 15-14, Adam Julian.
It was an epic struggle in a horrid conveyor of mud. You don't see rugby like this so often these days, folks, but this is grassroots, epitomised, unsanitised, uncorporate, just a good old-fashioned scrap. Petone, they defended bravely in the first 20 minutes, and scored the first 9 points as Paremata-Plimmerton became agitated at the unwillingness of Petone's defence to surrender. It was 9-0 at the break. 2 penalties kicked by TJ Clark and another one from Rory Willett. And then the second half started with the penalty for Paremata-Plimmerton, who then took the lead on the hour mark through their skipper, Tane McMillan-Parata. Petone had a dogged and defiant period of attack inside the 22. They refused 3. They continued to persevere with line-out tries and scrums, and Jacob Tainui slithered over in the corner to make it 14-10. And then the game went from contested scrums to uncontested scrums to contested scrums to uncontested scrums. It was an absolute schmozzle in that period of play. But when Paremata-Plimmerton had the chance inside the 22 in the last stanzas of the game, they were patient, they were muscular, and ultimately they prevailed by 15-14.
And another full-time score here in the other semi-final. Jubilee are through 25-20. The Hawks have plucked the wings of the Magpies and the Swindale Shield champions are out.
Blue, blue, blue.
There we go. That is the matchups in the prelim finals next week. Hutt taking on Paremata-Plimmerton, and it's Tawa against Johnsonville. Well, it's been a pleasure bringing you this game today. 15-14, the home side winning it late in the 86th minute against Petone. Many thanks to Adam Julian for joining the broadcast today, and our cameraman in trying conditions. James Willett's doing a sterling job. That's it here, folks, at Ngati Toa Domain. I'm Brad Hudson. Ciao for now. Drains, leaky pipes, don't let plumbing problems sideline your day. Call the team, Mike Pinfold Plumbing and Drain Laying Limited. Mike has been our sponsor since the very beginning. From quick fixes to full renovations, he's got the tools, the team, and the know-how to get the job done right. First time, every time. Local, reliable, and always on time. That's how Mike plays the game. Find Mike Pinfold at Pinfold Plumbing at extra.co.nz 027 430 4351. Mike Pinfold Plumbing and Drain Laying Limited. Also Google Mike Pinfold Plumbing and let the pros handle the flow.
Hi, Gavin Murphy here
And Cassie Murphy.
from G and Higton Funeral Directors.
Don't leave it up to someone else to tell your story. Do it now when you can enjoy being part of the conversation.
With a prepaid funeral, you can have music, readings and venue all chosen by you.
For your free funeral planning pack with everything you need to get started, go to our website at gnhigton.co.nz/pre-planning.
The Huddy Hui. Huddy Sports captivating sports show. The Huddy Hui covers Wellington Club Rugby as well as other sporting topics of debate. Tune in on YouTube during the rugby playing months as host Brad Hudson interviews rugby players and other sporting personalities across the Wellington region and the rest of New Zealand. Catch the Huddy Hui streaming on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and wherever good yarns are heard. The Huddy Hui live on Huddy Sports. Here at Huddy Sports, we love a good game plan. And when it comes to travel, our go-to is Louise Reddy from New Zealand Travel Brokers. Whether it's a sports tour, a family break, or that bucket list trip, She'll get you there stress-free with all the best deals around. She's local, she's experienced, and she backs the game like we do, and she's a great supporter of Huddy Sports. Look up Louise Reddy at louisereddy.nztravelbrokers.co.nz or email louise@louise.reddy@newzealandtravelbrokers.co.nz. Travel smart and travel like a pro. As here on Huddy Sports, we're always wanting to keep our content free on YouTube. So the idea of sponsors, we can promote you on live stream, our social media pages and our website. It's good to support the local community and helps keep Huddy Sport free for all to watch. So if you're interested to helping Huddy Sports, go to huddysports.co.nz or to our email address, huddysportsnz@gmail.com. Ciao for now.